Okie doke. I'm not here today, and you guys are just working on the assignment from yesterday's notes. So yesterday we spent the entire period working on notes for this, and today you're just doing the assignment. So this is not a page number in your binder, but the paper copy is available for you if you prefer that, and this is also on Schoology, so that's totally up to you how you work on it. If you're a paper copy person, though, please make sure your name is on it. Let me figure out my technology first. What is going on? Yeah, please make sure your name is on it if you're a paper copy person. Okay, so first, this first problem on the top left wants us to label the triangle's legs and hypotenuse. Remember that the legs are adjacent or touch the, I like pink. The legs touch the right angle, so there's the right angle. So the legs are going to be any side that, when you outline it, touches that. So if I outline this side, does it touch the right angle that I have in pink? If I outline this side, does it touch the right angle that I have in pink? If I outline this side, does it touch the right angle that I have in pink? So if it touches the right angle, that's the thing that's covered up in pink, then I know it's a leg. If it does not touch the right angle, then I know it's the hypotenuse. It can only see the right angle. The hypotenuse only sees the right angle. Okay. Next, we want to label the 90-degree angle. The 90-degree angle is the one that is formed by the legs, and legs are that's formed by the legs. And the legs in Pythagorean theorem are A and B. So if you outline side A and side B, the right angle is the angle that is formed between that. So think, would that be this angle, or this angle? So it's one of those angles. It's not all three angles. Please do not have all three angles as your answer. Okay. Next, we want to know which equation will determine the missing side length of the triangle. So here is the right angle. One side that I know is 12 inches, and that does touch the right angle right here, so I can call this a leg, which means it's A or B. I'm going to use A. The next side that I know is 10, and when I outline 10, does that touch the right angle? Yes, right here, meaning it's the other leg, so this is B. And that means the missing piece is C. So following our steps from yesterday, I would need A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, well, instead of A, we get to use 12. So this becomes 12 squared plus, instead of B, we can use 10 squared equals, and we don't know what C is, so C stays as a C squared. Okay, so you just want to know which equation matches that. So that one's kind of done for you, actually. Next, we want to know which statement below is not true. So we want your answer should be false. Is false. Okay, and I would recommend using page 7.3 for this to help you decide which things are true and false. Yep, because all of that is answered on page 7.3. Okay. Letter A says the legs of a right triangle are the sides adjacent to the right angle. B says the hypotenuse is directly across from the right angle. C says the Pythagorean theorem can only be used with right triangles. And D says the hypotenuse is the shortest side in a right triangle. Remember, you are looking for the false statement, and all of those are answered on page 7.3. Okay. Next problem says to find the missing side length. So this is what we worked on yesterday. We've got a right triangle here. I know it's a right triangle because there's a right angle here. Since I have a right triangle with a missing side length, I know I can use A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So first step, write the equation down. Second step, fill in what I know. So I know that this side is 8, and that does touch the right angle. So I can call that a leg or the letter A. Okay, next I've got the side 15 that I know, which also touches the right angle, meaning it's also a leg, so B. Now I'm just filling in what I do know, because that third side is missing, right? This side is missing. I don't know what it is. It's across from the hypotenuse. It's across from the right angle. So it does not touch the right angle. It only sees the right angle, meaning it's the hypotenuse. All right, so now I'm ready to plug in what I know. Instead of A, we can use 8. So this is 8 squared plus B squared. But instead of B, we've got 15. So we'll have 15 squared equals, and then we're just going to keep C as the letter C because I don't know what it's equal to. Okay, from here, you type this in on your calculator. 8 squared plus 15 squared. Oh, that's not what I wanted. We go 8 squared plus 15 squared is 289. So all of that together is 289 equals C squared. Okay, and to get rid of the square, I'm gonna actually just rewrite that one more time. So 289 is C squared, and we are going to get rid of the square. To get rid of the square, you have to take the square root of the other side. So you need to type in the square root of 289, and that'll be your final answer. So the square root of 289, square root is right there. Okay. Alrighty. Next problem. Find the missing side length, round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so this one should have on your screens on Schoology, at least, it should have the right angle labeled for you. On paper, it might not, and I apologize, but this is the right angle right here. That's the right angle, so I've got a right triangle then with a missing side length, so I can use A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Because I have a right triangle with a missing side, I can use this formula. Now I'm filling in what I know. 5, the side length 5 does touch the right angle, so I can use it for A. So instead of A, I'll use 5. Okay. This side length is 15. It also touches the right angle. So instead of B, I'll use 15. And then that equals the thing that I don't know, which is the side across from the right angle, C. Okay, so now what I'm ready to do is to type stuff in. So I've got 5 squared plus 15 squared. So you type that in and get a number equal to C squared. After that, you need to get rid of the square by taking the square root of the other side. So to get rid of the square, you take the square root of the other side. And then that'll be your final answer. Okay. You do want to round to the nearest tenth, so I will help you guys with that. So we are supposed to get this number from 5 squared plus 15 squared. So we'll go, just ignore all of those notifications. That's so many. 5 squared plus 15 squared plus 15 squared is 250. So we've got 200, undo. We've got 250. That came from this 5 squared plus 15 squared. Now what I need to do, we were getting rid of the square by taking the square root. So we want the square root of 250. Okay, and that is 15.81. I'm going to write down the 15.812 decimal places I'm writing down. This is 15.81. Okay. We only want to round to the nearest tenth, so there should be one decimal place in our answer. The one decimal place in our answer is right here. So we're looking behind that number to see if I should round up or stay. Because the number behind it is 4 or less, I'm going to let the 8 rest. So this is 15.8. If the number behind the 8 was 5 or more, I would add one more. So then the 8 would become 9. Alrighty, and now we're going on to the next problem. Again, I have a right triangle with a missing side. Here's the right angle, missing side length. Because I have a right triangle with a missing side, I can use Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, from there I'm going to outline the sides that I know. This side is 14 and it does touch the right angle, so it's a leg, I'll call it A. So instead of A, I can use 14. Okay, the next side I've got is 20. That also touches a right angle, so it's the other leg, B. So instead of B, I'll use 20 equals, hopefully the next side is missing, and also the hypotenuse. That is across from the right angle, it only sees it, so that is the hypotenuse. So this is c squared here. Okay, after that you are going to type in the 14 squared plus 20 squared, and you're gonna get a number here. Okay, that number is equal to c squared. So now you want to get rid of the square. To get rid of square, you take the square root. Okay, and then after you do that, that's your final answer. Next, we have the length of the rectangle is 30 yards. What is the width of the rectangle? Okay, so that doesn't seem like enough information at face value, but when you look at the picture, they have not only the width is labeled, but also the diagonal is labeled. Okay, now I know that this looks like it is a rectangle, and I want to know its width, so I'm really curious about this piece here. Now, when I outline all three sides that I know, I've got a right triangle. I know that this is a right angle because it's a rectangle and all of the corners are 90 degrees, right? So I know that what I have here, I know that this is a right angle because it's got the right angle right here. Okay. Anyways, so because I've got a right triangle with a missing side, I can use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, and we'll start out by outlining the sides that I do know. This side is 30 and it does touch the right angle, meaning it's a leg. I can call it A. So instead of A, we're writing 30 squared. Okay, the next side I know is 50. And while it does touch a right angle, it doesn't touch the right angle in the triangle that I'm using. It's across from the right angle in the triangle that we're using. So this is not the little egg, it's the hypotenuse. Because it's across, it only sees the right angle that we're using. So instead of C, we've got 50. And then the question mark side also touches the right angle, so that would be B, but because I don't know what it is, I'm going to keep it as B. And then just copy down the rest of the equation there. Now I've got 30 squared plus b squared equals 50 squared. Well, we are interested in getting b squared all by itself. What's preventing that is the 30 squared. So we want to move the 30 squared to the other side. No problem, I can move that. But because I moved it, it switches signs. Now in front of the 30 is nothing, meaning there's an invisible positive sign there, right? So when I move it, instead of staying positive, after you switch sides, you have to switch signs as well. So to get rid of the 30 squared, you had to subtract 30 squared from both sides. Now we're going to be left with b squared equals whatever number that is. Whatever number this is. Okay, and then when you're done with that, you want to get rid of the square because we're not interested in finding b squared, we're interested in finding b. So we have to get rid of the square. Well, if we cross out the square on one side, we take the square root of the other side. After you square root that, you're done. Okay, next we want to find the perimeter of the triangle. Okay, so I will help you guys with a few things. Again, the right angle should be labeled on your papers and on Schoology. If it's not, I sincerely apologize. Now we want to find the perimeter of the triangle. Well, perimeter just means to take this side 10. So we need 10 plus this side 26 plus this side that we don't know, and add it all up. Perimeter means take the outside edges and add them all together. Well, I don't know all 3 outside edges, but I do have a right triangle with a missing side, and I need that missing side so I can find the perimeter. Since I have a right triangle with a missing side, I can use Pythagorean theorem, and I want to because I need that missing side length. I need the value of that missing length. So we've got a squared plus b squared equals c squared because I have a right triangle with a missing side. So we've got 10 here, and that does touch the right angle, so 10 is a leg. We've got 26, which does not touch the right angle, so this is not the leg, it's the hypotenuse, or C. And then we've got the missing side that does touch the leg, or the right angle, so this is B. Alrighty, so instead of A, we're using 10. So instead of a squared, we have 10 squared. Instead of b, well, we don't know what b is, so that's going to stay as a b. And then instead of c, we're using 26, the hypotenuse. Okay, again, we want b squared all by itself, and so I'm splitting this up to 2 sides. The thing that's preventing b squared from being all alone is the 10 squared. So we need to move the 10 squared, no problem, but by moving it, it switches sides. Because there's nothing in front of 10 squared, I know that it was positive, so because it switched sides, instead of staying positive, now it's negative. And that got rid of the 10 squared over there. So now what I type in on my calculator is 26 squared minus 10 squared. So here we've got 26 squared minus 10 squared, which is 576. So 576 is equal to b squared. Okay, but we're not looking for b squared. We want to know what b is, not b squared, because the missing side length is just b, right? If it's squared, then that's the square, the area, not the side length. Okay, so we want to get rid of the square. If I get rid of the square, I have to take the square root of the other side. So I go back to Desmos, and I'm taking the square root of that number, 576. The square root of 576 is 24. So now I know that b is 24. I'm not done. That only gives me b, not the perimeter. But I needed that information because I need the perimeter here. So I have the 10 plus 26 plus now I know 24. And now I can find the perimeter. So after you add those numbers, that's your final answer. Okay, next we want to find the missing side length. So here's the right angle. Because I have a missing side length in a right triangle, I can use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, and now I'm outlining the sides that I do know. 12 touches a right angle, so it's a leg, I'll call it A. 20 does not touch the right angle, it's across from it, only sees the right angle, so it's C, the hypotenuse. And that means the missing side is A or B. I'm using B because I've already used A. So instead of A squared, I'm writing 12 squared. Instead of B squared, since I don't know what B is, I'm keeping it B squared, so there's that. And then instead of C squared, because we know c is 20, we'll write 20 squared. Okay, we want to find b squared, so we have to move 12 squared. Moving 12 squared to the other side, because it switches sides, it switches signs. So now we're typing in 20 squared minus 12 squared, and we'll get a number here. That number will be equal to, since we moved the 12 squared, that number is equal to only b squared remains. Okay, but you don't want to solve this for b squared, you want to solve for b. The missing side is just regular b, so we don't want squared, meaning we're going to take the square root of that. Okay, so after you take the square root of that, your final answer is done, and that is all that I have on this paper. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out.